Hi, this is Ellen Broderick with the Inspired Living podcast, and I'm here today with Juliann Montemayor, and I'm really excited to have her with us. I just want to say just a word about these weekly interviews I do. I try to dive deeply into conversations with individuals who I believe are endeavoring to really listen deeply to the small voice within and live from that place. And of course, we all do it imperfectly, but these are people who have inspired me, including Juliann. So Juliann has been a coach of mine, and she also has coached other people in both Ayurveda and in skating. And the work that she has done with teenagers or is doing with teenagers is also really inspiring. So we'll delve into those things. Juliann, let's just start out by having you just tell a little bit about where you're from and how you got into the work of coaching.
Thanks, Ellen. I'm really excited to be with you here today. So I'm from Kent, Ohio. I have been coaching for a lot of years. I began a coaching career as an ice skating coach, and several life events brought me to the world of yoga and Ayurveda. And in doing that, I got really interested in how we can heal ourselves, and I wanted to share what I was learning with other people. And that led me to learning a lot more about Ayurveda and beginning to coach people in terms of their lifestyle habits and in ways that they can be their own healer.
Is that what attracted you to Ayurveda? Is that concept that there's a lot of empowerment of people's own ability to heal themselves, or was it something else?
No, it was that. And it started in a yoga class where I started to, that inward journey that someone can experience in a yoga class. And it was from that I learned about Ayurveda, and I realized that they're sisters, Ayurveda and yoga. And so that really drew me in, that ability, as you said, of self-empowerment, knowing that I have the ability to make a difference in my own life. And yeah.
And when you were talking about yoga and the experience you had in yoga, I can imagine what that is, because I feel like I have also had experiences in yoga of feeling aligned, of feeling that I'm totally in the present moment, which is such a uplifting and rejuvenating experience. But I wonder, is that close to what you had experienced, or what's the particular flavor of your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. My version of the experience was that I was able to really notice the voice that was speaking to me, not in a not so kind way. As I was moving through some yoga poses, some very judgmental voices, and that through the work, the guidance of the teachers and just that work, I was able to change that, to realize that voice doesn't have to be like that, and I began to realize that there could be a change happening, and I could feel it physically, as you said, like aligning my body. My body was like moving more freely. Certainly the life force energy within my body, I could feel it not so stagnant. And so that voice, I think, was the thing that made me realize, hey, there's another way. There's another way. And overcoming that. In fact, I have one fun little story of a teacher inviting us to do a pose that was really scary to me. It was a wall yoga class, and she suggested it, and I straight up said, I'm not going to do that. And I thought, oh, that's really rude. I shouldn't do so. and I felt really bad, because I was like, oh, I was kind of, ignoring what the directions, right? But it was in that moment that I really did learn that your yoga practice belongs to you, and there was no judgment there. And I worked through that pose, and the freedom of being able to actually do it on my own terms was really exhilarating. And I think that what really launched me into the next step.
You know, even the piece where you're saying, I'm not going to do that, is claiming something about your being the person who makes these decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Wait, that's a nice way of looking at it. I looked at it in the moment as just like this act of great defiance. Yeah.
well, and sometimes the two go hand in hand. You know, sometimes it's important to say no in the face of, especially for those of us. I don't know if you are a person who grew up with, you're supposed to do what the authority, whether it be the teacher or the parent or the adult in the life of a child, says that it's important for you to do, and of course that's not always in your best interest.
Right.
So when you get to a point where you say, I'm going to claim something about what is in my best interest right in this point in time, I think that can also be both defiant and an act of kindness and self-authority.
Yeah. That's a great reflection. Thank you.
Oh, hold on a second, because I can't hear you. So let me try again. Yeah.
I was saying that was a great reflection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. So you have a business that is called Take Heart Space. And I love that name because it speaks to the thing that I am most interested in at this point in my life, is really diving in with people to what is in your heart, what's in your heart to do, and what is in your heart to listen to. And so I wonder how you came up with that name and what it represents for you.
Yeah, Take Heart Space is a call to action. I think a lot of times we can get complacent in our own lives, and I was at that place, at one time. But Take Heart Space for me is like a declaration of taking ownership for what's happening in my life, and empowering not only myself but helping others to find that within themselves, that they can take that journey inward, that they can listen to what their heart really wants, and it's okay. I think a lot of times we find there's resistance when we express what it is that we want, maybe with ourselves, but also with people that we're sharing that with. And so Take Heart Space is that standing tall and saying, this is what my heart wants, and it's okay, and encouraging people to explore that for themselves.
Yeah. That's reminding me of something I was listening to today. I don't know if you're familiar with the author Stephen Cope, but he, So he has a book on audio that I was listening to this morning. And one of the things that he speaks about in it is that if you are actually lining up with he calls it Dharma, but with your heart's desires and your life's purpose, then it's not necessarily going to be an easy journey. That one of the things that happens for some people when they line up with their real inner knowing is that people dislike them or outwardly hate them, or react negatively in one way or another. And I think what you're saying is, regardless of what the external reaction is, the importance of living what we're here to do.
Right. Yeah, because along the way, we change, right? I mean, we're not the same person that we were, 5, 10, 15 years ago, even 6 months ago, a lot of us that are on a growth path. And so, if there may be people in our lives that just don't understand it, and they you know, they may fall away from our lives, or just be a different type of person in our life than they were before. But I think that it's hard to do that, but it's even harder to stay stuck. And so, you know, following that dharma, and you know, we never know who we're going to meet along the way. You know, I've met some great people on this journey.
Yeah. And yet there is at least in my life, I feel like there is a mourning that I go through when people fall away, and in part due to the choices that I make. And it seems to me that that's both, well, I think you used the phrase at one point, or the word at one point, when we were talking a few weeks ago, just taking a pause. And so sometimes I find that when people are not lining up with the direction that I'm going, I need to take a pause and just move within, check with myself to make sure, is this, you know, is there questioning of this something that I should also be questioning? And if it is, you know, maybe spend the time with that. And if it's not, then kind of blessing them and allowing them to go their own way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy. It definitely isn't easy. And there's a grieving process for sure, because it is a loss. And you know, our comfort zone is called our comfort zone for a reason, right? It feels cozy and comfy, and, you know, to break out of that. But, you know, when we're really drawn to do something new, sometimes that draw is stronger than the desire to be in that comfort zone. So it does require a pause to just kind of take that time to reset, remember why, remember the reason that you're on a particular journey, and then go forth with, you know, strength and courage and gratitude for what came before, because it's all important. It's all part of who we are.
Yeah, that's such a I think an important message is the gratitude for everything that is, right? And we may not like the package it comes in necessarily, but it also can challenge us to grow more fully, and I also appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, can you give an example of a time in which you felt like you clearly had a vision of something that a direction that you were being led in or drawn toward, and how that unfolded?
I think this journey right now that I'm on, of being more immersed in the coaching world of wellness and lifestyle, has been a huge draw for me. I was working a job at a university full time, and you know, COVID changed up a lot of things for people. I think that it shook people's it just loosened some thoughts that they might have already had, and maybe propelled them a little more quickly. And that was the case for me. It was kind of a wake-up call that, hey, this really isn't the life I like right now. And I was thinking of doing coaching as a part-time, you know, like a retirement job. And then I really mulled it over. I was taking stock of what was just happening in my life in terms of, you know, my family. And I realized that I really was unhappy, and that I was going to take this leap to, you know, a leap of faith into a new way of making a living, and a new way of living. And for me, I mean, it was a big step out of that comfort zone, and a step into my heart space of what I really want to do, and how I wanted to help people. And, you know, my job was one where I had contact with people, and I felt, you know, some fulfillment in that, but it wasn't that deep heartfelt growth that I feel that I wanted to be a part of with people. And so, yeah, it's a really, in moments when I feel doubtful, I have to take that pause you were talking about earlier, remember what it is. And I know that, it's really what I want. And so it's just one foot in front of the other. And it's not, any new thing, anything that is worthwhile isn't easy, I don't think, right? It takes effort, and there's surprises along the way. Certainly there have been a lot of surprises along the way. We get these visions in our mind, at least I do, and it's like, all right, I see the path, do this, and you're there. Well, it's not that way. It's all zigzagged and turning back and all that.
There's the little saying that if you want to hear God laugh, make a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I mentioned earlier that you were a coach for me for a period of time, and the thing that I felt almost immediately with you was a sense of authenticity. That when we spoke with each other, I felt like you were really there, and you weren't giving me a spiel. That I was getting the authentic reflection. And that to me means a great deal in my life. And, I aspire to do that with people in my life. And it's, it's a continual journey as well. So I thought I would just mention that. So now you have coached people through the Ayurvedic kinds of habits and lifestyles. And you've also coached people with skating. And and I think that you work with people of all ages, but a lot of the people you work with are young folks. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. Most of I have taught everything from, 2 and 3 year olds to, 70+ year old individuals, and all kinds of abilities. But mainly my one-on-one coaching is with young girls in that preteen age. And it's very enlightening. And I'm noticing that when I'm working with the teens and I'm hearing the things that they're saying, I have been really drawn to how I can help them, like, start now to create some habits that would be helpful for them moving on into their adult life.
So this is interesting, because this is what I was curious about, is where the parallels are between the coaching for the skating and the coaching for the Ayurvedic principles. And so one of them is that you can notice the things that would be beneficial from the Ayurvedic side for people who are whose main focus with you is the skating.
Right. So, what I find that as far as the coaching goes is that we all doubt ourselves. And so I have these young people that I work with, and then I have some adults that I work with on the lifestyle coaching side and the skating side, or younger people. And it doesn't make any difference, young or old. There is this level of, I don't think I can do it, a lot of judgment, on themselves, in terms of, it wasn't perfect, so therefore it's not good enough. And so I find in both camps really coaching about how we're not going for perfection, right? We're going for what, be better today than you were yesterday. Make this performance better than your last performance. Whatever aspect each person is working on in their life, that they don't, like, take this big leap and expect it all to fall into place and to be kind to themselves, you know. So it's really interesting. I never would have realized that I would have that kind of a similarity. But a lot of the things that I say to my skaters, or we're doing things, you know, one step at a time. Maybe it's learning a new skill or building confidence in, you know, doing something that's harder. It's the same kind of coaching. It's just a different subject matter, you know, with the health coaching.
Yeah. And that may also link back to what you said about your experience in the yoga class, where you realized that there was a voice within your own head that was harsh, and that the first step is actually, it seems to me, the first step is actually recognizing that that voice is there and that it's not necessarily the truth.
Right.
So your own experiences seem to also inform how you and what you coach people around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now,
I was noticing that you have, and I know we spoke about at one point about your putting this program together, but there's a program for teens that you call Balance in Motion. And that is a 6-week program. Can you tell a little bit about what are the goals of that program? So if there was a teen who was interested in doing it but wanted to know more about it, how would you explain what you either do or intend to do with that?
Yeah, so that course is designed to help teens figure out how to balance all the moving parts in their life, you know, friends, activities, sports, family, and it's a lot, you know. So the course, each week we dive into something a little bit new. We learn about how to communicate in a way that that we can be heard, but also how to listen deeply so that we can understand, you know, what's going on. Communication is so hard in those teen years, especially between parents and people of authority, because, you know, teens really want to explore being themselves, you know, and who that is. We talk about managing time, how to prioritize and know what's important, and like creating a way to do that in an easy way. We talk about resting and self-care, how to when to connect, when to disconnect, and what that means and why it's important. And definitely talk about other forms of self-care, nutrition, hydration, and just acceptance of who we are. I think there's a lot of it's the teen life's a little hard. There's a lot of judgment out there and a lot of expectations. And I think from my own experience as a teen in the skating world, there was a lot of judgment on body type and look and all that sort of thing. And I really want to help people learn how to love who they are as they are.
Well, it sounds like a program that I would have been so appreciative to have in my life when I was a teen. And you think about how much more complicated things are with Facebook and Instagram and all the things that make you believe that other people's lives are perfect and yours is a mess.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I would imagine that could speak really deeply to people. You know, in this day and age, even more so than other times, but really at any point in time. I think those teenage years are really hard. And
they are.
that self individuation is such a process, and it's painful. And you don't always find people who can support you in finding the most authentic self.
Right.
And then you have also a 12-month course called Perennial Wisdom. Is that right?
Yes,
you want to say a little bit about that? This is an Ayurvedic based course, right? And based on the habits that support the most healthful living.
Right. Perennial wisdom speaks to this wisdom that that rolls with the season. So in this course, we really tap into circadian rhythm, living within the rhythm that's already out there, right? We don't have to, we're not controlling nature. We're not controlling, our stage in life. This course speaks to the stage of life that we're in, the seasons of the year, the hours of the day, and help us to learn about how to make choices for optimal health, for best rest, so that we can do the things that we really want to do. When I talk to teens about the teen program, what I say is, we learn how to take care of ourselves so that we can do all the things that we love to do, so we can be with the people we love in the way that we want to be with them. And I do have a course member who that is one of her things. She says, I just want to feel good, want to feel well, so that I can love the people that I love the way I want to. And that's what the course is all about. And so it's 4 quarters, 10 habits that we look at that are daily habits. And 10 seems like a pretty easy number, but we realize as we dive into them that having support of a group and talking about these and meeting with these week to week really helps us to fully embody each of these habits. It takes time to learn to do something new and to explore it. And the habits that we bring to the table they're a lifetime. Like the habit, we've all lived a life that, has a certain rhythm that we already have. So we want to make some changes. We have that desire to kind of up level our life, so to speak. We have to kind of undo some of the old stuff as we're introducing the new stuff, and it takes some time. So yes, we journey for a whole year together, so we can hit all of the seasons of the year and experience that together.
Yeah, and what I have loved, because you and I have met on a regular basis to support each other in the work that we do, and what I have loved is that as I guide a group of people in a similar journey that I call inspired living, that I've been able to touch base with you and share the kinds of things that I'm doing and hear the kinds of things that you're doing, so that even though each of us has our own individual approach to this work, there is a thread that's quite deep that runs through both your work and my work. And it's been just a really important element to have somebody to touch base with on it and notice the things that are working and things that need maybe a different kind of attention.
Yeah. We all need support, whatever place we are in this journey, whatever our role is, we all really need each other. And I think that's really one of the beautiful things about community, is that we're not competing against each other. We can just love each other and help each other along the way.
This idea of loving each other, I think, is front and center in a world in which what gets put on television and on the radio and in the politics is the competition and the I, me, mine, and the idea that even somebody who is in that mindset is worthy of love. And maybe even searching for love in a way that that may not be a direct route, but it may still be happening. So the other thing that I was interested in you talking about just for a moment is your Better Conversations, because it sounded to me like this was a free offering that you do. I know I have attended one, I think maybe 1 or 2 of them, and I found them delightful. But it's an offering that you make on the internet, and people can attend it once a month, and you have a topic that you focus on. And
yes. So I've been doing those conversations with another coach friend, and we've been doing them for quite over a year now. And we pick a topic each month to dive a little deeper into it. And sometimes this year's theme is unexpectedly worthy topics. And so they're kind of commonplace topics. Our last one was on spring transitions, which doesn't seem all that unusual, but we try to take a different spin on it. We teach a little bit of an Ayurvedic nugget, and we give people an opportunity to learn something about themselves along the way. And there's always a tip sheet that goes along with it. And it's just a great, for me, it's a great opportunity to have conversations that we don't normally have on a day-to-day basis. We're not talking about the weather. We're not talking about, the latest news. We're really talking about things that people come there looking for a conversation that is a little closer to the heart, and they look to walk away with a new way of looking at things, maybe a little inspiration, maybe a reminder that, hey, it's okay to think this way, keep going.
Can you give just a little bit of an insight into, I noticed that one that's coming up on April 21st is mental, emotional bodies. And can you just say something that will be spoken about or explored during that conversation?
Yes, so we're working on that right now, and we're talking about exploring just the way the mental and emotional bodies work together and the difference between the two, and also looking a little bit from a yoga Ayurvedic perspective at the koshas, the layers of ourself. So there are 5 of them, and emotional and mental are 2 of them. So we're looking at exploring that a little bit deeper.
So the densest body, what we would ordinarily call our body, is this physical level of body, right? And then from there, you go on to these other levels, and we're not used to, I think, other than in the yoga and Ayurvedic communities, maybe some other alternative healing modalities as well, not so used to considering all of the layers of self that we embody. And so I thought that was really interesting. Now, I know we're coming close to the time when we're going to be wrapping up, but you and I are going to be offering an Awaken to Spring. Maybe you could tell us, that's going to run from April 15th to May 9th. And it will be, doesn't matter if somebody lives in another part of the country or another part of the world, if they can tune in on Zoom, they can be a part of this.
So absolutely.
What can you say about this? This is a transition from winter into spring, and what draws you to offer something of that nature out in the world?
Right. So in Ayurveda, during this transition seasons of spring and fall, we do what's typically called a cleanse or a detox. And so what you and I have decided to do together is a mini course on how to make a smooth transition from one season to the other. A lot of times people can really experience it as in the spring, particularly. It's a wet, damp time of the year, so you can feel that in your body. And so we spend this time of transitioning slowing down, taking a pause, as we've talked about earlier, and shedding some of the accumulations of winter. Over winter, we kind of bulk up a little bit to keep ourselves warm and such. And so in order to prepare for the next season, the season of spring and on into summer, we want to shed some of that and give ourselves a time to just reset, the time to slow down. And so what we're doing is people can, it's not a one size fits all. We're going to share several things in that course, and people can choose what fits them best to move into that transition.
I love that. And I love the fact that we're also going to give people an opportunity to do some self-reflection. There'll be some journaling involved, where they'll get a prompt to guide some self-reflection through writing.
Right.
which I think is a time that people can also learn something about themselves and how their mind works and what's working and what isn't working and what they want to do about that.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited
making
about it.
and making some room during that time too for listening to that still small voice within that is that guiding beacon, I think, for us, or hopefully is. So, well, Juliann, I have so enjoyed this, as I knew I would, because every conversation we've ever had, I've come away feeling uplifted. And, I hope people will look. So can you tell people how to find your website and how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the website is www.takeheartspace.com. All one word. And you'll find me there.
Wonderful. And this is Ellen Broderick, and my inspired living space is inspired-living@gmail.com. And or you can just go to the website, which is inspired-living.net. Either way, if people are interested in joining us for that spring Awaken to Spring journey, it's 1 month, so it's not a year-long commitment. It's not a year-long financial commitment. It's under $100, and it gives people a real taste for the kind of work that you and I do with people in the world. So
we hope you'll join us.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much. And for the Inspired Living podcast, we'll look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Ellen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.